Good evening, Facebook land. I just wanted to pop on tonight quickly and do a bit of confession time because I wanted to talk about the one-off, and I make lots of them, but one of the mistakes I've been making with my kids' meal times. And I thought it'd be a great chance to chat to you guys for you to realise that just because I do courses about fussy eating and I'm a pediatric dietitian doesn't mean I always get it right with my kids. And actually, if you spend any time on Instagram and look at my feed on Instagram, I'm often confessing all the things that I have stuffed up with my kids eating. And I realise over here I haven't done as many Facebook Lives all about my kids eating. So I thought I'd pop on tonight and have a quick chat about the mistake that I've been making. So, hey Rachel. So what I realise is, I'm a busy mum and a busy parent just like you guys out there. And sometimes with meal times, I take the easy road. Now, I'm all about family meals and eating together, and we probably do that about 90% of the time, which is great. But what I find is that when I'm planning what meals we have, I sometimes take the easy road with meal times. So if you guys have been following me for a while, you'll know that my eldest is a pretty good eater. My youngest can be stubborn as anything, but overall, I don't class them as fussy or too fussy. They're just normal kids. But I still find that I'm taking the normal or the easy road with meal time. So when I'm planning their meals, or our meals as a family, I'll be like, look at some recipes and go, oh, they're less likely to eat that, they're more likely to eat this, so I'll go with this option. And I guess the reason I do that is because, it's hard meal times after work, after a crazy day, feeding the kids. So because my kids eat okay, there's still lots of meals and lots of different foods they will eat. So it's not as though we're eating the same meals every day. So what I tend to do is serve kind of the same kind of meals. And I know there's foods my guys are not good with. I wasn't really great in the early days of introducing enough spices because it wasn't something that I always cooked with. So there's a lot of big flavours, especially my oldest doesn't like. Things with sort of a bit of, not like chili hot, but a bit of heat my kids don't like, especially my oldest. And there's things like green kind of pastas and stuff they hate. They only really like spaghetti bolognese. I mean, there's a whole list of foods, but I know that I definitely take the easy road. And what that has meant is that there's a lot of foods that my kids haven't necessarily been exposed to on an everyday basis or a constant basis. And what we know about getting, introducing kids to foods and getting them used to new foods, we talk about constant exposure. And so my kids are never going to like these foods if I don't serve it to them ever. And so when we talk about constant exposure, it's not about just putting it on the plate and going, okay, they've been exposed to it. It's about being exposed to a new food, but in a positive environment. So what I'm trying to do this year is sort of be a little bit more conscious about being, I guess, a bit more creative with the meals. And also there's certain meals that, I might serve separately to my kids. The times that we don't eat together, I'll go, oh, that's a meal we'll eat, and I'll serve the kids separately because, again, it's going for the easy option. But if I don't expose my kids to these kind of foods, then they're never going to want to eat them. So when we talk about exposure, we're talking about that you have to introduce new foods to your kids consistently. It could be 10, it could be 20. In the case of zucchini with my youngest, it was probably about 100 times. But it needs to be in a positive environment. And so that's what I wanted to chat about tonight, is what I'm going to do to start giving my kids, different types of foods, different meals, knowing that they're probably not going to eat it. And so there's two ways of doing it. Now, if your kid is extraordinarily fussy, then putting food that they don't like on their plate is not going to work. Because if your kid has a reaction like oh my God, get that away, start pushing that food away or screaming, then putting a new food on their plate is never going to work. So when you introduce new foods, you want it on a separate plate. Whereas my kids don't have that kind of reaction. They're actually happy to try new bites of food, but they don't necessarily like the food because they're not used to it. So I'm going to talk more about those guys, not the really, really scared kids. These are more of the ones who just, you just want to increase the repertoire of their eating. And so, for example, tonight I was just doing it was a pumpkin pesto pasta with chicken. It's nothing exciting, but like I said, my guys like the spaghetti bolognese and the tomato-based pastas, but don't really like the green ones. So I still served that meal, but what I made sure is that there was something on the plate that I know that they're going to eat. So in this case, it was, some veggie sticks. And tomorrow night we're doing a lamb, it's a green curry, so a lamb curry, which is actually my husband's favourite meal. Not so much my favourite meal, but I'm happy to cook it. Now, I tend to not serve this to my kids at all because it's got a slight kick to it. Now, I will obviously dull down the spice and my husband will just have to deal with that. But what I thought tomorrow is, well, what can I serve with it that I know they will definitely eat? And so what I'm going to do is, instead of serving, I normally serve like rice and cauliflower rice mixture plain with that curry for us. What I'm going to do is make up like a veggie fried rice using cauliflower and normal rice together, make it more like a veggie fried rice. So I know that they will always eat that. It's one of their favourite meals. I'm not going to go fancy, I'm not eating chicken or anything, but I'm going to serve that with the curry. I'm not going to mix it together. So for mine, I probably will, but for my guys, I won't. And so I know that they will eat something on the plate. And so what I'm always going to do is I would never introduce a new meal without knowing that there's almost like a scapegoat food or a food that I know that they will eat. And if I've always got on a plate a food or a meal or something that they're going to eat and I combine it with a different food, then I'm always, that's the best way to do it. Now, it doesn't mean that they're probably going to get a balanced meal tomorrow night. If they only eat the veggie rice, there's not going to be any protein in that because I'm not putting chicken or egg or anything into the veggie fried rice. But again, that's okay. I don't sit there going, oh my God, my kids haven't eaten enough protein tonight or enough veggies or anything like that. I serve a balanced meal with lots of, veggies and protein and some carbs, and my kids decide whether to eat it or not. So again, I'm not too stressed if they don't eat a full meal or don't even eat the main meal that I'm serving. But again, it's about exposing your kids to new foods, but in a stress-free way. So if I was just to put that lamb curry in front of them, they'd probably take a bite, say yuck, and they might not, they might surprise me. But if I would say, they might say yuck, and then there's nothing else for them to eat, and all of a sudden mealtime is stressful because they're hungry and there's this thing in front of them they don't like. And so with like mixed meals, it's a lot harder to kind of add something extra in. It's okay if you're introducing like a new vegetable. It's fine to give them veggies that they like plus one extra. But when you're talking about mixed meals, like a pasta recipe or a curry or something like that, then you just need to be a little bit creative about what you add onto the plate. And as usual, I will never even ask my kids to have a bite. Actually, in the case of my kids, I might say, do you want to have a taste? I never ask them to have a bite or a whole mouthful of food. I say, do you want to have a taste? I'm okay if they spit it out if they don't like it, but that's as far as the encouragement goes. My standard answer is, even if they say yuck, as soon as it's on the plate, my standard answer is, that's cool, you don't have to eat it. You know that we are never forced to eat anything we don't want to. And I also know they're going to get something on the plate that they enjoy. So again, the mealtime is not stressful. And like I said before, when I think a lot of parents make the mistake when they introduce new foods is they just put that, like a new meal on the plate and expect their kid to eat it. And then if it's not a positive exposure, then you may as well discount it. So it needs to be a positive experience. So your child doesn't need to think that they're going to be forced to eat that food. And we need to know that the kid is not going to be, hungry or anything like that. So for me, my biggest mistake is that I've got, I guess lazy isn't the word as far as meal times, because I actually do cook a variety, but I will tend to take the easy road. So my reaction for the curry that I was going to make my husband tomorrow night was to go, I'll serve the kids something separate. The reality is our freezer's empty at the moment. I actually don't have any other meal to serve them. So really, from a necessity point of view, they have to eat the meal tomorrow night. But I thought, how can I do it so it's not stress-free? And I'm just going to add a side dish, not a different meal, but a side dish, just tweak it slightly to something I know that they will eat. And therefore, we're going to have hopefully a less stressed meal. Will they eat the curry? Who knows? And if they're not, who cares? It means leftovers. Well, for my husband, because I don't love the meal. I will eat it though. But what it means is more leftovers for us. So, like I said, I definitely make mistakes with my kids eating, and I'm just trying to find creative ways to introduce my kids to new foods. So thank you for everyone for watching. Thank you, Little Peeps Eats, for saying hello. And Hector and Rob, thank you for watching. And please, if you're watching this later, comment below and, let me know if this makes sense to you. And like I said, The caveat to this is if your kid is really scared of new foods, having it on the plate is not going to work, and that's a whole nother video. These are for the kids who eat okay, aren't scared of new foods, but you just want to try them trying some new foods. And just remember, they might not like the curry tonight, and they might not like it next time you cook it, or even the next time, hey, it may be years. But with all things food, it's about the long game, not the short game. So thanks for watching, guys, and hopefully I will see you next week. Bye.